Hello, and welcome to another episode of Nintendo Therapy. My name is Harrison, and thank you for joining me today. And yes, it's just me, and if you're a regular listener, you might think this episode is coming a couple days late. But we thought, why not? Kevin was out sick, and he mentioned to me that he wants to let the listeners know that he's now out sick playing the Pokemon trading card app, which we will get to here very soon. If you're joining me on YouTube today, we will be releasing a video podcast of this. So I'm recording now. You can see my face. You can see the randomizer. It's not that exciting, but I promise that it'll be there. As always, on all other podcast platforms as well. So I hope you have a great day. This will be a shorter episode for today. No spotlight game, and I thought I'd come on here and talk about the news items for the week. And then Kevin can come on next week and talk about the news items that he wants to talk about. All right, so in the spirit of the show, I put my randomizer up here, and let's see what we are picking first today. What news item are we going to talk about first? And this is one that Kevin posted. And this is about Pace Magazine. They did an article ranking their 50 favorite games or 50 best games of the 2020s so far. So beginning in 2020 to now. It's another gaming magazine that we talk about on here. Another non-gaming magazine that makes gaming content that we speak about on here. So how did Nintendo do? Super Mario Wonder, 39. Metroid Dread, 32. Tears of the Kingdom, 31. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, 27. Animal Crossing New Horizons at 22. So if you're thinking like where's Mario Odyssey or where's Breath of the Wild, those are 7-year-old, almost 8-year-old games now, and not released in the 2020s. So just gives us more context about how old this system really is. What other takes did I have for this? So I don't know Pace Magazine. I had to look at their wiki page to see what they are about. The first thing I looked at was their albums of the year, and I must say that if their games were going to be similar then to their albums, that we would probably disagree a lot. And then look at their wiki, I also learned that in 2007, similar to, I guess, what Radiohead did, they did a pay what you want subscription plan. And although they gained 28,000 subscribers, they ended up not making it. It was not sustainable, I guess I'll say. Yeah, I guess they made money. But no surprise. Yes, 2007 magazines are not as popular, and you let people pay what they want, they might pay $0. Who knows? But that's all for Pace. Let me talk about my reaction to their list. So my initial reaction was I was wrong. A lot of games that they mention on here are games that I would put at the top of my list of basically games of the last 5 years. For example, Hades is number 3, my favorite indie game all time. Balatro, number 8, my favorite indie game of this year. One of my favorite games of this year, just in general. Vampire Survivors, number 15. I put it as my favorite indie game of last year, even though it came out, I guess, in 2022. But for me, it was my favorite because of the Switch port, and that's just when I picked the game up finally. But it's kind of interesting, though, because while they kind of give these mini reviews, and while it might have been taken from past issues, I'm not really too sure, they do a good job of summarizing, but not a good job of comparing, in my opinion. Like, for example, Hades and Balatro, I think, are ranked the correct place. But those are my own thoughts, and I have to ask the question why. I think Hades and Balatro, as far as roguelikes, are very innovative in a way. Thinking of Balatro being like this kickstart to all of these casino style roguelikes. Not the first, but just by far the most popular so far. So that was a game that took a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. It was a game that I had followed in development and had just exploded when it came out. There's games like Wordle at number 20. Not really too sure why. They put UFO 50 at number 4. I think UFO 50 is a fantastic selection, and it's a fantastic selection of games. But I think that's pretty biased, even though that it's highly, highly rated on Steam. Uh, we'd probably say that's pretty high for being the fourth best overall game of the past 5 years. But if it's their favorite, then that's fair. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Baldur's Gate 3 is at number 18. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is maybe the most important game we've had in the past 5 years. So of the 2020s, it's a game that took me by surprise. The amount of popularity it got initially. It might have been the most complete game of 2023. But as far as the development, the production, the modding community, the different play styles, I think it might be the most important game just in general. Number 18. And it's hard to compare some of these games too. For example, I said Tears of the Kingdom is number 31. Another game that I really like from this year is Animal Well, which is number 37. Animal Well is about 40 megabytes, and it's hard to imagine comparing it to a game like Tears of the Kingdom or some of these other very massive games. Now, does it matter what the size is to like how good the game is? I'm going to say no. And even there might be benefit of having those small games because if you have Animal Well, it'll most likely stay on your system forever because why the lead of 35, 40 megabyte game? So overall, I find the comparisons a little bit difficult. Now, I didn't realize this randomizer doesn't have a elimination tool. So hopefully everything goes okay. Let's go to Nintendo Switch Online. So, Nintendo Switch Online, and I'm recording this on a sunny Saturday afternoon in Thailand. As of Wednesday, I did not write the date down. As of last week, Nintendo has added Shadow Man and Turok 2 to their 17 plus expansion pass. I have not played either game. I know that Kevin played Turok 2 this year, so I will not have that much to say about it. Although, while I'm not too excited to play Turok 2 whenever it comes up in our podcast, I am pretty excited to play Shadow Man. And I completely forgot that there was a remaster. It's a remaster that came out on Switch in 2022, I believe. I completely forgot about that. I'm very happy they went with like an old school 90s voiceover for the trailer of these two games, including a time where the voiceover says, "Are you ready to rock?" which I think is pretty funny. A very hilarious line. So this 17 plus section is getting to be a bit interesting. Of course, we had Perfect Dark earlier this year. We have GoldenEye. Who knows if we'll ever get Conker's Bad Fur Day. But it does go to show that the N64 just wasn't about the 17 plus or the mature games. And that really hasn't changed too much. I would like to see it change. But who knows? They know their audience better than we do, of course. But it's just, I think it's a reflection of the time, reflection of the console, seeing games like this, games like Of course, they're shooters, but you might not think they're meant for mature audiences. So overall, just very excited to see it. Shadow Man is definitely a game on N64 as an action adventure, more adult type game that is quite unique on the system, and it was very unique for other shooters in 1999 as well. I'm sorry, Turok 2 was unique for shooters released in 1999. With that, I'm spinning the wheel. And I have to spin the wheel again because I completely forgot. And if it happens again, I might just do away with this now. Okay, yes, I am. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Xenoblade Chronicles X. And I'm not even gonna record all of this. I've been recording for 10 minutes now. We're just moving on, doing our three last items today. Just ignore the randomizer over here. I can't take it out because there's something behind it. Xenoblade Chronicles X is the biggest surprise for Nintendo this week. A lot of people were thinking that this week was going to be the week that something big happened. Okay, we didn't. We had a presentation in September. October has been pretty quiet. Now we're in November. And on a random Tuesday, I don't even remember. It might have been Tuesday morning in America. I can't remember now. Uh, Nintendo announced that they will be porting the Wii U Xenoblade Chronicles X to the Switch console, coming out on March 20th, 2025, which is the latest Switch announcement that we have. So, if you've been listening, you can probably guess what I'm going to say next, which is this a game that we see on two different consoles, considering that we've had quite a few rumors now that the new Switch hardware will come out in March. Does it change for you? Does it change your feelings? You can let us know, as always, leaving us a comment. Do you think this announcement means that we see the Switch 2, we're going to call it, later on? Now that we are getting announcements in March of 2025? Or do you feel the opposite way? I don't know. I could justify a release schedule of March, June, September, holiday season. It all sounds good to speculate, which is why never too sure about some of those rumors. So yes, saw a big reception online for this game. So I thought not many people played Wii U. Is it that every Xenoblade fan had a Wii U? And it's that connection? Because it seems like a lot of people played this game and are saying it's the best Xenoblade game. It looks interesting to me. I have not played any Xenoblade, and I think the art style looks the best. I think the kind of sci-fi style genre is more interesting to me and more realistic. And apparently it has an upgrade visually. So we'll see. We'll see if it releases on two consoles, two different versions. I don't really have a speculation for that. Last thing I'll add. We are running out of Wii U games to be ported, which is really interesting because after these Wii U games are up, where does a console really go from there? Of course, the online services were already shut down, and of course, not many people had a console initially, besides all those Xenoblade fans. Wii U games, I think there are, I'm going to predict 6 games that I think will be ported to a Nintendo console. Paper Mario Color Splash, Star Fox Zero, Yoshi's Woolly World, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, which since this podcast began, we've been waiting for, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. That's it. 6 games, that's it. That's it. That's all. Now, games that are possible but not likely. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, I don't think we see it. I don't see why. Nintendo Land, no idea. Don't know if anyone played that game. Pushmo World, that's it. Those are 3 games that are, I guess, possible. but to me are not probable at all. So I think at most there are going to be 6 Wii U games, and 2, being Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, are ports. I included it because we'll be getting that version whenever it comes on this Switch or the next Switch. It keeps getting rumored. It's like a now or never type of situation. So, all right. In the most uh, Nintendo thing possible, Nintendo launched their Nintendo Music app. It is $3.99 a month, or it's $19.99 a year. And I don't have much else news to talk about it. I don't have the app. Let me give my take on it. I kind of don't like it. I kind of hate it. Not because of the Nintendo economy, but of just the overall streaming music economy overall. I bet if you're listening, you're a fan of Nintendo music. I am too. But accessibility is always what I go back to with music. And if it's not accessibility that is consumer driven and consumer focused, I'm not really such a fan of it anymore. I can think of albums that I've wanted to listen to the past couple of years that were on a select streaming service in order to try and push people towards that streaming service. And I could go further and say that it might be a little bit predatory as well, given that a lot of people subscribe to things and then they forget and then they don't check their balance. And what's $2, $3, $4 a month anyways? So I understand. If I could go the other way, it is Nintendo taking agency of their own brand. But I just would like to see a partnership, more or less. It's not an app that I will pay for. And I understand that plenty will be like, oh yeah, $4 a month is nothing, or I pay $20 now, I can have it for a year, that's fun. And $20 is like the price of like an indie game or something. It's not even close to the price of a full price game. I'll get my money's worth. But I I just wish they would have paired with Apple or something else and made a partnership that way, and made it so that people that already have services connected with Nintendo could just continue that way. Will it be successful? I guess success kind of depends on how we're looking at things. But in a week where we're expecting big Nintendo news, in the last 2 weeks we've gotten the Nintendo Alarmo and the music app. The last few weeks, I should say. All right. Again, my randomizer is broken, so I am going with the trading card app at the end. This is our last news item. This is something that we will be talking about next week, because I know Kevin has a lot to say. I just checked his account. He's at level 11. I'm at level 6. So, how is it so far? It launched. It was supposed to launch on Halloween, or it said around then, but it launched 2 days earlier than that. Surprise! And an even better and bigger surprise is that it seems like it's had a pretty decent launch, given the fact that we've seen other Pokemon games and we've seen at this point two like bare bones versions of trading card game apps that just didn't make it, and this seems way more fleshed out. It's more along the lines of Pokemon Go. It's more along the lines of Marvel Snap. So it all looks very nice. The card art looks amazing. The animations look great. The RNG is not that good, but I question the RNG because my first select pool, what do we call that? Wonder Pick. My first Wonder Pick was a rare card. And I got that instant rush, an instant dopamine of, uh-oh, like this might be a new thing that I want to do a lot. So there, there was definitely a lot. So my first feeling is that I'm very pleased that it's it's been so smooth, and I haven't had any app crashes, or I don't know how it is on the battery. I'm not really too sure. It does feel a little bit early access. So, I mean, I recommend, since it's free to play for just the initial what I'm doing now. I definitely recommend checking it out because it is free. But I would say that it does feel like early access because there's no trading now. There's a battle system, which I'll talk about in just a bit. There's no uh, like user-based marketplace, which I would love to see. That's I think where I would get addicted, is just being able to do more things with duplicate cards or just cards you are never going to use. I think it's going to promote many different types of play styles, and this should be promoted to everyone. People who like to collect, more like me. People who like to play the game, more like other people. So speaking of the game, I've played a few matches against computer now to just get some unlockables. This is probably where I've been seeing the most criticism, I'll say, and it's most likely coming from someone who has actually played the trading card game before, which I have. I have plenty of times. Um, the main difference I'm seeing is that they give you a free energy every turn, and you don't have to put energies in your deck and use them and rely on luck of the draw of when you actually get energies. I understand it. Uh, I talk about accessibility a lot. It might be accessible to a wider audience, but I don't think it's a choice that I really like. Or ideally, we would have traditional and new. Because I think I would play more traditional, but then we would have to have energy cards. It would have to look a little bit different, just overall. So I think that's about it. I'm waiting on the trading aspect, which is great. Um, there's a lot. There's an event already that's going on. There's a lot of content. It's a bit hard for me to wrap my head around the different coins and tickets and currencies and trades and whatever else it might be. But uh, having too much content is a good thing right now, I'll say. So I guess will I play it long term? I don't know. I last thing I'll say. I wish Nintendo would give us the option to skip animations. It looks great. It really does. It looks great. Open you sliding to open the pack, seeing the new card animations, and then you have to add the new cards to your binder, and then it goes in the binder, and then you might have a pop up after saying that you unlocked something. It looks great. For after the first few times, I just want to switch it off. So I think for me, the longevity matters, and does Nintendo kind of give us more of those options? And me being the pessimistic Nintendo fan that I always am, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Nintendo's going to Nintendo and not always be super respectful of your time, but hey, having fun. All right. I'm going to leave it there. We'll be back in less than a week to talk about Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2. We'll talk more about the card app and whatever else is in the news for Nintendo that week. We are still waiting on some big announcements. So Who knows? Could be any day now. I hope you have a great weekend and a great week. Thank you so much.